third position in the end after a stunning battle was the man who started 7th on the grid, Standorian Peremargi of Estonia, just in front of Carlos Leon and Philip Siva, although if there was one lap to go, I think the result would have been quite different. And as a result of that, I think this next race is going to be pretty spicy as well. The cold conditions are still here. It's not raining anymore, thank goodness, and we're hoping that it remains that way for the entirety of. But the X30 Super Shifters are now making their way to the holding area. And we've got about 8 minutes or so before the race gets underway. So for those who are following the action via the Telemundi media stream, hello to all of you. There's a good over 150 or so of you who are watching. Do send us your messages and your support. We'll try and read them out before the next race gets underway, especially those who are watching the X30 Super Shifter class and have been waiting for your turn. And messages of support for all of the drivers. This is a good moment, especially if you're following somebody in the other classes, to get your message in while you're not having to stare quite intensely at the timing screens. Do please share your thoughts and your views with us, and we will chat about them over the course of the proceedings. But it's going to be an interesting one, the X30 Super Shifter. Kevin Ludi in front of Nicolas Robasa and Standorian Peremargi a little bit earlier on today. So we'll see how it opens up for the second of the 3 races of today. Of course, in both the X30 Minis and the X30 Super Shifters, there will not need to be an A final and B final. They will just have their own final because there's not going to be enough people to get them to drop out. So at least the X30 Mini drivers all have the knowledge that they don't have to worry about going home early. They will all be very much in the mix. But some good racing from the drivers over the course of today so far. Some good overtakes, some good battles. And there will be some drivers who, even though they will be eliminated from the competition over the course of the day, they will still, no doubt, stick around to watch the racing and get a little bit of sightseeing. We are just outside the city of Valencia. It is a beautiful part of Spain. And it is a wonderful part of the country as well. So obviously Deacon O'Sullivan is rooting for the man who finished second on the starting grid on the end of the race, and that is Go Nico, in reference to Nicolas Robasa. So Nico Robasa, who was supposed to start second for the races, will now actually start from 8th position from the grid in each of them, because his best 2 lap times were disallowed after a technical transgression in yesterday's session. So he will start from 8th position for each of the races today. But finishing second in the earlier one means that I don't think Nico Robasa is losing too much sleep over that. I mean, in fact, he managed to get himself into the top 3 on the first lap, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. This is the first and only class of the day, of course, that runs with standing starts. So you get the spectacular image of the Gearbox Super Shifter karts blasting off the line from a stationary start and then zooming down towards that first corner. And these are ridiculously fast karts. These are the big daddies of the karting world. And of course, it's a reminder that X30 Super Shifters, while there aren't many of them this weekend, the world of Super Shifters and Superkarts, this is for those karting folk who believe, as many people do, that you don't just go karting to get yourself into the world of car racing or even bike racing or rallying or anything like that. You use karting as the beginning of your entire career of motor racing. To these people, karting is the be-all and end-all, and it is the pinnacle of the sport, especially at gearbox level. I've spoken to many gearbox karters who have told me that you cannot get a closer experience to Formula One without actually being in a Formula One car. In fact, even Formula One drivers who have given these cars a go over the years, the likes of David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher, have had a go at superkarts and super shifters, have got out and said, you guys are lunatics. Even Valentino Rossi has said that when he had a go at super shifter in Laguna Seca, I think it was, a few years ago at the American round of the MotoGP. He got out and said, I'm never doing that again. You guys are crazy. And if Valentino Rossi says that, well, then that gives you an idea of just how you have to be that kind of competitor, just what kind of character that makes you. You live slightly on the edge, and fair play to you for that. So the Super Shifters are getting themselves ready to go. We'll talk you briefly through the grid because we've got about 4 minutes or so before the race actually gets underway. It is going to be Carlos Leon, the local man, in his first ever meeting in Super Shifters, who starts from pole position. Alongside him is Nico Rohrwasser in terms of the qualifying yesterday, although it has now been him demoted down to 8th place. So we will tell it as it actually is now. Carlos Leon and Kevin Ludi, the race 1 winner, who are on the front row of the grid, from Philip Siever of Switzerland and Kasper Korjus of Estonia, who failed to make the finish in the first race with mechanical difficulties that have started pretty much since qualifying yesterday. Up until that point, he was the fastest of all in every session. Antti Ramo, 5th on the grid alongside Stendorian Pedemagi, and then it is Michel Biffiger and Nico Rohrwasser on the 4th row of the grid, and then it is Joao Dias, the Portuguese racer, who will be starting his Birolart kart from the back of the grid. He had difficulties in the first race. He went off at turn 3 and the kart was never quite the same after that point, so hopefully he's going to be in a much better shape for this race now. There are 3 races over the course of the day, of course, for the X30 Super Shifters, and there are plenty of top races to come from them. We will, of course, be back doing this all again tomorrow to crown our IAME Winter Cup champions in each of the 4 classes. It'll be a really interesting battle, actually, because there's still so many races to come. I mean, this is the 14th race of the day, and we have 22 in all. So after this one, there are still another 8 races to go. Absolutely love days like this when you get up, the races start, and it just doesn't go. It just doesn't stop until the sun goes down. You've got to love days like that. That's what real racing is all about. So the drivers are getting ready to go, and it seems we've got a few more visitors from various different paddocks who are arriving here, because of course over the next few days the meeting tomorrow ends about 4 p.m. local time, we're estimating, and there are still going to be some British teams who are going to be using the Cartodromo Lucas Guerrero circuit over the course of the Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Any of those schools that are on half term, a lot of the karters have chosen to go on a little mini holiday and do some testing here at Valencia. And not a bad idea too, because it teaches you an awful lot testing on this circuit, and you'll get an awful lot of useful data that they can take back to various competitions. I'm fairly sure that British karters are not the only ones that are coming out here to use the circuit. There'll be quite a few others who will be testing on the circuit over the next few days. I only wish I could stay on a couple more days to observe the testing as well. I think it'd be quite nice to hang out with a few of my mates, but unfortunately I'll just have to wait for the evening of tomorrow to catch up with a few of them, I wonder. As we're finishing up on 4 p.m. I might even go and explore some of the local scenery. Of course, we're not too far away from the site where the old Valencia street circuit used for Formula 1 is. It's only about 5 or 6 miles down the road from here, and that's one that's worth a bit of a sightseeing for any driver who has to go home a little bit early but doesn't quite want to get on their flight until the evening of Sunday. They can all hang around and do a few bits and pieces in the local scenery, and it looks as though for a few people it's become beer o'clock. Only for the spectators, of course, not for any of the drivers, as they want to watch some fantastic racing from the side of the circuit here as the spectators get themselves into position. And there's still quite a few of them as they line up. 10 laps on the clock once again for the X30 Super Shifters, with Carlos Leon hoping to take his first victory in Super Shifters. He starts from the front of the grid. Alongside him is the Swiss Kevin Ludi. And once Kevin Ludi gets into the lead of a race, you know it's going to be hard to take it away from him. So they're going to have to get a pretty good start in order to have a chance to beat him. So we'll see how that works out. Here we go. The engine revs are rising, and the karts are heading out onto the circuit momentarily. And as we go racing, it is now time to get the X30 Super Shifters second race out of 3 underway. Here we go. So Kevin Ludi and Carlos Leon will lead the field around, with Leon on the inside line and Ludi on the outside line, and Nico Rohrwasser trying to charge his way through from 8th position on the starting grid. He did so pretty quickly in the earlier race, so I have no doubt he won't make it work. It won't take too long to do the same thing. But it is Carlos Leon and Kevin Ludi, then Philip Siever and Kasper Korjus, Antti Ramo and Stendorian Pedemagi, Michel Biffiger and Nico Rohrwasser, and then Joao Dias at the back of the grid. 9 Super Shifters. That won't make a great spectacle, will it? You're wrong if that's your opinion, because it is absolutely amazing, these karts. They are fantastic to watch. Great battles. And in the 3rd position battle alone, we saw some absolutely fantastic racing. between the three protagonists, Stentorian Pirimagi, Carlos Leon and Philip Siever. They were absolutely electric in their fight for third place. And watch out for Nico Rohrwasser once again from 8th on the grid. He will storm his way through to the front as early as he possibly can. And who knows, if Kevin Ludi gets a bad start, that could even be for the victory. Not that Kevin Ludi is sweating too much by the look of it. The man who's really under pressure here, to a certain extent, is Kasper Korjus. Kasper Korjus will be hoping to get on top of whatever mechanical difficulties he currently has. Hopefully, they are now sorted. I know that the Ike's Racing team are very good at these sorts of things, and if problems develop, they are very good at getting rid of them. So Kasper Korjus just getting himself lined up for the second row of the grid. Carlos Leon will be the man who starts from pole position, with Kevin Ludi alongside him on the front row. Now the carts getting themselves into position. And we'll keep an eye for Nico Rohrwasser and Joao Diaz towards the back of the field as we get ourselves ready for the second of 3 qualifying heats today in the Super Shifters. So how things will look after this particular heat? Well, we'll have the seniors 7th and 8th heat. Then we'll have the juniors for their 5th and 6th. Then we'll have the 3rd heat for the minis. Then the 3rd heat for the Super Shifters, and then we'll have the 9th and 10th heats for the seniors, and that will be the last races of today, with more races to come tomorrow. Now, the drivers will line up on the grid this time. It's not a rolling start formation. They will line up onto their positions on the starting grid, and they will blast away from the standing start. You wouldn't believe at this point of the lap how many drivers and spectators suddenly get a good vantage point because they really want to see a standing start Super Shifter race. It is quite a spectacular sight, and you're going to see it. Here we go. All the carts are in position. Mr. Starter moves away. The lights are on, and they're going to go racing. Wait for it. Oh, it's a jump start for Korjus, but an amazing start for the 6:15. Rohrwasser is going to get himself right up to the front end in only the first couple of corners. Tries to move his way through. He's up at the 4th position, Rohrwasser, but I think Kasper Korjus got a bit of a jump start, and that will almost certainly cost him a penalty. He was moving before the lights went out. So it is now a lead for Kevin Ludi. No major surprises there, but this time Carlos Leon manages to run in 2nd position in the early stages. So the local hero has a genuine chance to keep up with Kevin Ludi on this occasion. He can be as fast as him, so we'll see how it works out as Rohrwasser makes the move for 3rd position. Good move there for Rohrwasser. And that puts him into P3. Up the inside straight away, though. That looks like Pirimagi. So Rohrwasser goes back down into 4th position. Pirimagi into 3rd place. And out in front, it is Kevin Ludi being chased down by the local man, Carlos Leon, who knows his way around this circuit very well indeed. But it's Stentorian Pirimagi in 3rd position. Then it's Rohrwasser, Siever, Korjus, Ramo, Bifiga, and Joao Diaz. Great racing and a great battle to come then. And look out in front. Ludi and Leon are disappearing. So Kevin Ludi leads the way. Carlos Leon in 2nd position. 3rd is Stentorian Pirimagi. 4th place, Nico Rohrwasser. And then we have the 6:12 of Philip Siever in front of Kasper Korjus. Then it is Antti Ramo and Michel Bifiga with Joao Diaz in the barrel, trying his best to close up. Great running from Kevin Ludi at the moment in front of Carlos Leon. They continue to run around the circuit. 1st and 2nd, running and sweeping nicely around the circuit. Down the back straight. What must those 2 right-hand apexes be like in these carts? It must be absolutely electric as Ludi and Leon continue to run. Now, interestingly, Rohrwasser is actually assisting Pirimagi in their bid to close up on Carlos Leon. Siever has got Kasper Korjus right underneath him. Then it is Antti Ramo and Michel Bifiga. Joao Diaz dropping back, so whatever problems he's been having through the course of the day is still there and still apparent as Kasper Korjus tries to get the move on Philip Siever. And Philip Siever slams the door firmly shut in his face there at turn 3. So no overtaking move coming for Kasper Korjus, who was the fastest man in practice all of yesterday morning. But out in front, it is Kevin Ludi, the Swiss, still doing a great job. 2nd place, Carlos Leon, still very much the man in form. 3rd position, Stentorian Pirimagi in front of Nico Rohrwasser. This is a 10-lap race. We're on lap 3, and at the moment, Kevin Ludi holding onto it in front of Carlos Leon. Into the right, left, right at the end of the circuit, and it is going to be a great run for Kevin Ludi if he can just keep this going. Carlos Leon, 2nd place. Stentorian Pirimagi of Estonia in 3rd place. So it is Switzerland, Spain, Estonia in the top 3 at the moment. Ludi, Leon, and Pirimagi. Fourth position, that is Nico Rohrwasser, who's trying to close up and do a good job to get himself into the top 3 once again. He was second last time, but this time Carlos Leon and Stendorian Pitamagi have been a little bit more alert on the start, and that has definitely helped them move forward. Joao Diaz there at the back of the field, still trying to get on top of the problems that he's having. But at the moment, it's all good for the two leaders, Kevin Ludi and Carlos Leon. Stendorian Pitamagi getting a bit of a challenge now from Nico Rohrwasser. Philip Seaver still there in 5th place in front of Kasper Korjus. Antti Ramo is still looking okay in 7th position at the moment in front of Michel Biffiger. I wonder if Biffiger's got a slight problem there because he backed down off the throttle. He might have just blipped the throttle a little bit. Michel Biffiger looks out of sorts there at the back of Antti Ramo. I wonder if he's got a problem, because Michel Biffiger got a little bit sideways there, and it looked like it could have been a mechanical issue. Meanwhile, at the front, his teammate in the expert team, Kevin Ludi, is doing a great job. Yeah, Michel Biffiger's definitely got some kind of problem. His hand is in the air. He's nowhere near Antti Ramo, and he's definitely got some kind of difficulty. So Michel Biffiger may well be coming into the pits at the end of this one. He's got his hands in the air. Something's definitely not right with the car. But Carlos Leon in 2nd place is still trying to keep up with Kevin Ludi, and he's not having a lot of luck to do so. Kevin Ludi in the Super Shifters is a dominant force to be reckoned with. Once he gets into the lead, you're never ever going to see him again. And he's going very well at the moment. Ludi, Leon, Pitamagi, Rohrwasser, Seaver. Then you drop back a little bit and you find Ramo and Biffiger. So into the pits has come Kasper Korjus again. Kasper Korjus is in the pits again. What a disaster for the Estonian. He has been the strongest in practice all of yesterday. And Kasper Korjus again retires. Something is definitely not right in that Ike's racing kart. He was absolutely on it yesterday morning, the fastest man of all. And now mechanical problems have got the better of him again. So we are halfway home, 5 laps done, 5 to go. And Carlos Leon is trying to step up the attack on Kevin Ludi. And I can tell you, he is about even in terms of pace. Leon is stronger in the first split. In the second split, Kevin Ludi is a little bit quicker. And as a result of that, he's able to control the pace at the front. But now, Stendorian Pitamagi and Nico Rohrwasser are trying to close up on Carlos Leon and look like they're going to do it, actually, because they've got good rhythm and good pace at the moment. So it looks to me as though Stendorian Pitamagi has a good opportunity here to close up on Leon. So things are going very well indeed as the battle continues on. But Stendorian Pitamagi still running very well indeed. In 3rd position at the moment, in front of Nico Rohrwasser, who just doesn't seem to have any more raw pace in the kart at the moment to be able to keep up. So the racing continues on a high. And still the battles reign on the back straight. Kevin Ludi holding the race at his own speed. He doesn't really seem to be pushing particularly hard. He doesn't need to. This is the thing. He's just keeping it very nice and tidy at the moment. Out of the final turn. Ludi, Leon, Pitamagi, Rohrwasser, Seaver, Ramo and Biffiger, with Joao Diaz in 8th position, still having some technical difficulties. But from his point of view, it's okay because he's still beating Kasper Korjus. Through to the right, through to the left, 3 laps to go, and Ludi looks good in front of Carlos Leon, Stendorian Pitamagi and Nico Rohrwasser. I'd like to think that Ludi is just controlling the pace out in front of the race. He doesn't need to be pushing too hard, although Carlos Leon is definitely trying to close on him. He was faster in the first split. Ludi just needs to control his rhythm. He doesn't need to push too hard. He's faster in the first split again. There you go. So he is now stepping up the pace. Kevin Ludi is not losing any ground, really. He's just controlling the pace. He's easing up when he needs to and then speeding up again when he has to. It's going very well indeed for Kevin Ludi as he goes into the penultimate lap. 2 to go. Meanwhile, Stendorian Pitamagi has decided 3rd position isn't good enough. And with assistance from Nico Rohrwasser, he's getting very close indeed to Carlos Leon. So Carlos Leon doing okay in 2nd place, but Kevin Ludi is the man in Super Shifters, and he will control the pace. Still great race action as Kevin Ludi runs away at the front. But Carlos Leon has got Stendorian Pitamagi and Nico Rohrwasser right underneath him. Is Stendorian Pitamagi going to make an overtake on this lap? He could well do into the final chicane if Carlos Leon is not on his best behaviour. In through the right-hander, down the back straight. A lap and a half to go, and the second place battle is going to get intense. I can sense it. Kevin Luddy may be able to win this one at a canter, but it's not done yet for second at all. Stendorian Pitamagi and Nico Robasa are close in behind Carlos Leon. And here we go, final lap. Carlos Leon looks over his shoulder. What are you doing? Do not invite an overtake. Goodness me, Carlos Leon had to shut the door there. He took one look over his shoulder, and he does it again now. He's obviously getting a bit nervous. Being in second position, you do not look behind you. Don't look back. Always look forward, because that is an invitation to the guys behind. Stendorian Pitamagi is now getting a challenge from Nico Robasa. Robasa tries and ends up having to get on the brakes there on the way out of the hairpin. So difficulties there because they were both trying to scrabble for the same bit of racetrack. But Kevin Luddy has got enough in his pocket. Carlos Leon has held off Stendorian Pitamagi. So while I thought there was going to be a bit of a major scrap on the last lap, Stendorian Pitamagi has done okay there. And the checkered flag is about to come out for Kevin Luddy at the end of the 10th lap. He's done a great job. He's going to win at a canter. It's Kevin Luddy. Once again, Kevin Luddy wins it. Carlos Leon second this time in front of Stendorian Pitamagi. Nico Robasa has to settle for fourth in front of Philip Seaver. And T. Rameau, Michel Bifiga and Joao Diaz will come through about half a lap or so further back. Still with teething troubles on that Birolart chassis. But the big story again is Casper Corjus. Where on earth has his pace gone? What a shame for Casper Corjus. The man who was the fastest in practice has been absolutely decimated by unreliability. His only comfort is that it won't matter in terms of where he starts the final, because there's 9 karts in the battle. He still has a chance to win the final tomorrow, but this is not good preparation. He needs as much track time as he can possibly get to be on top of the situation. As Joao Diaz comes across the line and finishes his race. But it is all done and dusted, I'm afraid to say, for Casper Corjus. For the second race running, the Estonian is out of luck. And really excited.